Welcome to Midfield SportsCast.
And the 11th episode of the Divided Friendship Podcast. And today, it is heading in to the Week 7 week of college football. Just past Week 6. So, annually, we head to the Week 6 recap, followed by the Week 7 picks of the top 5 games, then our upset of the week, then we're going to do our top 5, quickly run down our top 5 teams. So that's a little controversial today in college football. And then, like always, we do the Ohio State and the Michigan preview and recap. All right. What games do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about Georgia and Kentucky.
What? What was that? Why'd you say it like that?
Georgia and Kentucky. Obviously, Georgia had a great performance. Honestly, I was expecting Georgia to win, but I didn't think they would win by, 40?
38.
38. Same thing.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, heads up.
Fell.
Obviously,
No.
last week, I think we mentioned this. We said Kentucky had to have a better aerial attack, had to have a better game.
What?
I think they were lackadaisical.
They were pretty
They were
lackadaisical.
pretty
Bro, y'all act like that's not a normal word
How
to
do you-
use.
Who just goes around and says, "Oh yeah, that's pretty lackadaisical," and nobody
Me.
says that. Nobody,
Yes.
absolutely nobody says that. Okay,
Yes.
anyways, Devin Leary did.
No. Just because you guys' vocabulary is not as massive
You're
as
talking
mine
to a
is.
sixth grader, Dawson. What do you expect?
He's not.
Well, Maddyx is different.
Oh my, he just called you different.
He's special.
There's supposed to be no editing. Now you're calling me special.
No, it's staying in. He didn't say special, he just said different.
Devin Leary stepping up his game from last week.
Devin Leary.
No, we did not.
Stepping up his game a little from last
You
week.
didn't say a little, you said.
Throwing for way more yards than he did. Way more than, 68? I don't feel like pulling it up. Yeah, this game he had 128 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. The only 2 touchdowns Kentucky had. Yeah, but Georgia, Carson Beck, good game. Brock Bowers, plenty of different players you can mention.
Kentucky here, their whole attack, for most of the season, it has been their running back, Ray Davis. In this game, they started out in their first drive getting about 5 yards a carry. Then, Georgia shuts it down. They can't get the run going. Personal foul penalties affect Kentucky's momentum. Georgia gets the ball, scores their first drive, their second drive, and then they just put the foot on the pedal, and they dominate the rest of the game. And you can't start slow against Georgia. And Kentucky sure did start slow. That was the difference in this game. What other games do you want to talk about?
Well, obviously the USC and Arizona game.
Yeah.
Yes.
USC looked pretty lackadaisical that game.
Alright, we can't be using that word.
We can.
Lackadaisical. Oh my gosh.
All right. This one ended up being 43-41 in favor of USC after they got a 2-point conversion stop on the Wildcats. Yeah, I fell asleep before the second half started. Great quarterback play on both sides. Caleb Williams and I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Noah Fafita. That's a cool name. I lied. Caleb Williams didn't really. What? Caleb Williams didn't really have that great. Caleb Williams only had 220 passing yards and a touchdown, but the freshman, Noah Fafita, 303 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 pick. Arizona was up going into the second half. USC able to battle back. make it a tie game, obviously. Shouldn't have been that close. Arizona, obviously not a bad team, but they're not a good team to the point where they should be competing with a top 10 team in the country. Maybe they need to keep Noah Fafita as the starter. I mean, I know USC's defense isn't really that good, but
yeah, USC needs to play better. Like I said, not going to win a national title under Lincoln Riley. This defense sucks. That's all I got to say.
It does. I mean, Lincoln Riley defenses always do that. When do they not?
No excuses.
That defensive coordinator must have something that can ruin Lincoln Riley's coaching career. Because he should be out of there. He should have been gone.
Get him out.
Will they make a move? Probably not. But only time can tell, obviously.
All right. I got a game. Let me tell you, this win for Georgia Tech involved one of the most stupid play calling decisions I may have ever heard of. So, pretty late in the game, Miami had the ball. Not much time left. They could have just kneed the ball, but instead, they decided to run the ball. Now, at this time, they're up 20-17, but Miami, they should have kneed the ball, but they decide, you know what, we can just stat pad and we're going to run the ball. They fumble the ball.
I don't think it was so much about the stat pad.
Georgia Tech recovers
it. Was
it.
Just a coaching mistake.
Very next play, I think it's the very next play. I don't know. No, 2 plays later, I think. 44-yard game-winning touchdown catch. Ends the game. Georgia Tech wins 23-20.
Oh.
That was honestly, Miami, they should still be undefeated right now, but they're not. That was awful. Why would you run the ball? All you had to do was knee it, and boom, you're still undefeated. But no, you run the ball, fumble it. Don't want to have that happen to you.
And that final play of the game was crazy. I mean, how do you get burnt down the field that bad?
Yeah,
there was 4 or 5 people chasing him into the end zone. Just awful.
Let me pick a game out. Let me talk about.
There's obviously one that we'll get to.
Let me talk about one game. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish finally found a way not to be overrated. But then they found a way to be overrated. They lose on the road to Louisville. The Cardinals beat them 33-20. Jawan Jordan played the game of his life. 21 carries for 143 yards and 2 touchdowns. Their kicker was absolute money throughout the day. Louisville's second half. The fourth quarter was total domination. So many sacks on Sam Hartman. Hartman just didn't have time in that fourth quarter to attempt to come back. And Notre Dame fails on the road. They fail on the road. They fail at home against Ohio State. They fail on the road at Louisville. And so far, Notre Dame remains overrated.
UCLA and Washington State.
Mm.
Number 13 team in the country falls to the Bruins. Dante Moore got to lower the interception numbers. Carson Steele, great game. Cam Ward also has got to get his interceptions down. He had none up until this game. I guess the Bruins defense just confused him a little. 1 touchdown, 2 picks, under a 50% completion percentage. Dante Moore exactly at 50. But ultimately, the UCLA running game was what got them the win over the Cougars and moved them to 1-1 in conference play. All right, now to the Oklahoma-Texas, the Red River rivalry game. Those 2 interceptions on the first 2 possessions for the Longhorns proved costly, especially that one where they were already in the red zone. There's not really much that dude could have done, though. I don't remember who it was that got drilled, but he got popped. The ball just went straight up into the air. Texas defender, or Oklahoma defender, right there to pick it off. Jonathan Brooks, great game on the ground. Farouk, I don't know his first name. Oklahoma's receiver, great game. Dylan Gabriel, he did not get the chance to play in the Red River rivalry game last year, which he said that is why he went to Oklahoma. He didn't get the chance to play in it last year due to an injury. This year, great game. Touchdown in the air, touchdown on the ground. He had over 100 yards on the ground as well as 200 in the air, almost 300.
Sadly, though, in this game, Andrew Anthony goes down with the injury, and he's going to be out the remainder of the season. The Michigan transfer got his chance at Oklahoma to show what he could do.
And a good system for him, too.
And he went off to start the year, and now, sadly, he cannot play the rest of the year. But we'll see him next year. We predict top 5 games weekly. Top 5 games from last week. Philly. And we also do point system. You get 1 for correct winner, 2 for correct score, so that's points combined, 3 for lower ranked team beating a ranked team, 4 for correct overtime prediction, and 5 for ranked versus unranked upset. All right, Philly here gets 5 total points for the week. Luke gets 1 total point on the week. Quentin gains 6 total points for the week. By the way, forgot to say this. It's me, Maddyx. Luke's here. Dawson's here. Quentin, not here. And me, I gained 10 for the week. In last place with a score of 25 points. Quentin in third place with a score of 27 points. Luke in second place, 32 points. Philly. And in first, me, Maddyx, with 38.
How far am I behind? 6?
Yeah.
Shoo, buddy. All right, first game. We are headed to Lexington, Kentucky. What a start. Lexington, Kentucky, where the Missouri Tigers will take on the number 24 Kentucky Wildcats. Kentucky is favored by 2.5 in this one. This will be a 7:30 start time on the SEC network.
All right.
Luke.
We got a good game coming up right here. Missouri. Both teams coming off of a loss. Missouri losing to LSU in an entertaining game. Kentucky getting killed by Georgia. Don't think they are deserving of a top 25 spot anymore. I think Missouri is going to win this game. Kentucky is favored by 2.5, but I think UK can't cover the spread right here. I think the Tigers go out, get a key win to help boost this team back inside the top 25. Give me Missouri 31-21.
All right. I picked Missouri last week. I didn't think I did, but I did. Missouri 5-1, Kentucky 5-1. Both have 1 loss in SEC play. Brady Cook's his streak of longest amount of time without throwing an interception, or longest amount of pass attempts without throwing an interception in SEC history was broke last week when he was picked off twice by the LSU defense. But I don't think that Kentucky's rushing attack is going to be able to get the job done this week. I'm taking Brady Cook and Luther Burden and the Missouri Tigers 38-27.
I'm also going 3 for 3 here tonight. I'm going Missouri. I think they didn't stop Brock Bowers at all. They're not going to stop Luther Burden at all. Burden, I think he's going to have a great night. I think Missouri wins on the road at Kentucky 24-21.
Next game we are headed into Chapel Hill, where North Carolina is 3.5 point favorites. They are number 12 taking on number 25 Miami. This is also a 7:30 start time.
25 Miami
on ABC.
Yeah. Miami coming off of that horrible play calling that made them lose. I think that North Carolina is able to get the job done. They are favored by 3.5. I think that they cover the spread here. I think that UNC is a way better team than Miami is. Miami, they probably would have had a better chance had they have won that Georgia Tech game. They would have had better momentum going into this game. But that loss is going to slow them down a little bit. It's going to backpedal them. And I think that the Tar Heels are going to come out victorious here. I'm going to go North Carolina 38, Miami. Let's go 20. Let's go 28. 38-28.
Miami really doesn't have anything to lose here. They lose one more, obviously they're out of college football playoff contention. They probably are right now with that loss to Georgia Tech anyways. So not very much to play for. Not very much on the line. They're going to go into Chapel Hill coming off a loss against a not-so-good Georgia Tech team. And they're going to be hungry. Tyler Van Dyke, 3 interceptions last game. He's been pretty good all year, except for that game.
Looked really high on Van Dyke.
Apparently, I'm taking Miami in this one.
That's bad.
Taking Miami 27-23.
Last week, Drake May put it all together. Played his best game of the year. And I think he continues this hot streak. Drake May shows how talented he truly is. I thought for a while, maybe this guy's overrated. Maybe he's not as good as advertised. But then last week he put it all together. Will he continue that? I think so. I got North Carolina with the W at home, 39-17.
All right, the next game we have number 18, UCLA, going into Corvallis, Oregon. This is an 8 o'clock start time on Fox. Oregon State favored by 3.5, and they will take on the Beavers. Anyways, forget that I said that. UCLA, Oregon State, Luke.
UCLA, Oregon State favored by 3.5. Pretty interesting game coming up right here. Both these teams trying to sneak their way potentially into the playoff. And if they want to, this game is crucial for both these teams. Both of these teams already have a loss in the year. UCLA losing to Utah and Oregon State losing to Washington State. I am going to go with the Bruins of UCLA covering the spread here, beating Oregon State. I'm going to go 34-31 UCLA.
I'm going to go Oregon State. I think UCLA used up all their willpower to upset the Cougars last week, and then they go on the road to Oregon State to match up with DJ Uyunglele, who's going to dominate.
DJ.
Give me Oregon State 45, UCLA 13.
I think in this game it comes down to the more experienced quarterback, which is easily DJ Uyunglele. I think Oregon State wins this one 38-14. All right, fourth game. What is it?
Fourth game, we have undefeated USC Trojans, who are number 10 in the country, taking on number 21 Notre Dame.
Where's it at?
Notre Dame favored by 3.5 at home.
All right.
Luke!
Notre Dame 1-2 against top-ranked opponents this season. Their only win coming against Duke in that thrilling game. 2 losses coming to Ohio State on the last play of the game and losing to Louisville last week. I think that the Trojans are going to come out victorious. I think USC is going to win this one on a last-second field goal. I've got kind of a high-scoring game here. I'm going to go 42 to 39. 42-39.
See, this could go either way. This could be really low scoring or it could be really high scoring.
Indeed.
I don't know if Notre Dame's offense has the firepower to go high scoring with them. Is their defense good enough to stop USC? I don't think so. We're going to go USC 41, Notre Dame 30.
The game against Ohio State at Notre Dame was the biggest game Notre Dame has had in possibly the last 20 years. They win that game, they have the bragging rights over Ohio State for the next time they play. Home field advantage for Notre Dame was very, very good that game. They just came off a loss. Their second of the year. I don't know if this crowd's going to be as rowdy as it usually is. But I'm taking the Irish of Notre Dame. If I get this wrong, it's alright, because I have a 6-point cushion. I get this right, though. I get +4 total. Guaranteed if I get it right. So I'm going Notre Dame with a W, 31-24.
Next game, we got what is probably a top 5 game, or top 5 anticipated game of the year so far. Number 8, Oregon.
Yes!
On the road against number 17, Washington.
All right.
Washington is favored by 3 points. It is a 3:30 kickoff time on ABC. Best believe I will be tuning into that.
So we got Oregon and Washington, 2 Pac-12 teams. You know, it's a Pac-12 matchup. This is going to be a high-scoring game. I think that this game is going to be full of explosive plays. Defenses are going to suck. Give me the Ducks of Oregon. I'm going to go Oregon 49-42.
Yeah, you better go the Ducks of Oregon, buddy. You know why? Because if you didn't go the Ducks of Oregon, it wouldn't make sense to have them in your playoffs. I'm going to take Oregon by a score of 35-32.
I had Washington as high as 2 in my rankings. But defense has not been looking good. You know, the defense has been looking good. Good, better than expected.
Oregon.
I got the Ducks on the road. The Ducks win 42-40.
All right, now off to
Upset of the week.
All right, I'm going to start this one. See, I was thinking here, obviously, a couple options you have. I was thinking. My upset of the week is going to be Texas A&M over Tennessee.
All right, my upset of the week is going to be NC State beating Duke. I don't know if Riley Leonard is playing or not, if he's injured or what. Yeah, I know he's injured, but I think NC State, Duke coming off that loss to Notre Dame took a lot out of them. I just think they're not going to be ready for it. And NC State is. And NC State, decent football team.
Oh. Team, you are just something today. You're on something. Yeah. Continue.
I think this is a decent NC State football team, and the NC State football team takes a victory. Thank you. What's your pick?
My pick. Give me
but
Arizona upsetting Washington State. I think that Arizona obviously couldn't say they're happy about the result of last week and their loss to USC, but that should give them a little bit of energy and give them the momentum they need to push into this game against Washington State.
One of the main topics in college football right now is who would make the college football playoff, who would be in, who would be out. What's your top 6 teams? So, we're going to talk about
our top 6 teams.
Our top 6 teams. My number 6 team, the Oregon Ducks. They slide in here. Best Oregon team since Marcus Mariota. Bo Nix playing out of his mind this season. Heisman contender. They're at 6. 5. Penn State. Run game falling a little bit off, but Drew L.R. has played better than most Penn State quarterbacks have the past few years. 4. Oklahoma picked up a good win over Texas. Probably the best team, or the best win of anybody in college football right now. 3, Ohio State. They beat Notre Dame. They handle Maryland. That's about it. 2, Michigan. 1, probably would have been Michigan, but they dominate the week prior. But Michigan, they've looked very good throughout the first weeks of the season. They have to close it out against Penn State, and they have to play Ohio State. 2 is Michigan. 1 is Georgia. It would have been 1 Michigan, but Georgia dominates Kentucky. And, yep, that's my top 6. Florida State does not make my top 6.
All right. For my top 6, I'm going to go 6-1 here.
Well, duh.
Getting from 6 here, I'm going to go Oregon at 6. I had them making the playoff. I think that this team is a capable team. Going to number 5, I'm going to go with the Oklahoma Sooners here, coming off that key win to Texas, or against Texas. I think that this team is college football playoff worthy. Jumping to number 4, I got the Penn State Nittany Lions. This team is a very good team, underrated, sleeper team. I'm honestly more worried for the game against Penn State than I am against Ohio State. Reason being, we're playing at Penn State, and we got home field advantage against Ohio State. And honestly, Penn State, could they be the better team than Ohio State? Maybe. Am I being biased? Maybe. Number 3, speaking of Ohio State, they're number 3. I think that win against Maryland. Yeah, I think that win against Maryland, they had a little bit of a test right there. Not a huge test like Notre Dame or anything. Number 2, falling down, not because they did anything wrong. They didn't do anything wrong, but the team below them did everything right to move up. Number 2, I'm going to go with my Michigan Wolverines. I have them at number 1. I think that they're going to drop down to number 2, not because they did anything wrong. They did everything right against Minnesota, winning 52-10. But Georgia did everything right. They're going at number 1. Key win against Kentucky. And, yeah, that's my top 25.
Okay, my number 6, I'm gonna go with Washington.
Say that one more time.
Washington. My number 5, I'm gonna go with Oklahoma. Number 4, I'm gonna go with the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Number 4?
Yeah. Number 3, I'm gonna go with the Florida State Seminoles. Number 2, I'm gonna go with the Penn State Nittany Lions. I'm kidding. Michigan. And then number 1, I'm gonna go Georgia.
Moving on. The last topic of today. Let's bring the energy for this, fellas. It's the last topic of the day. The last topic
Sweepy.
of Podcast 11. I am too. But I don't want to be.
the energy for y'all.
Don't want to be boring.
No, stay away.
I'm going first. Recap and preview.
Don't.
All right, recap. I was at the Ohio State Maryland game. I was there in the crowd.
Yeah, guys, he was there.
First quarter was scary. Second quarter was scary. Start of third quarter, also scary. Then Silver Bullets show up.
Blah, blah, blah.
Defense show out. They played good. Had 2 picks. Talia threw it 40 times. They limit. One thing they did not do was limit first downs. Every third down, it seems like they would always convert. And it was making me really mad watching that game. It was making everyone mad that was there. Also, the run game, it was terrible. Stretch runs don't work with ship training. They only work with Henderson because of his speed to get to the edge. You got to run it in between the center and the guard sometimes. You got to run it inside the tackles. You have to. You can't just run it outside the whole time. Like that.
Bro, you're on something.
Stop.
Besides that, Good game.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Besides that, a good game from Ryan Day. A great game. Not a great game. A good game for Ryan Day. It's a W against a tough team that was unranked. Actually unranked. They're undefeated though. Moving on. Purdue. Played them on the road. Last time we played them on the road, we lost. Got humiliated. I don't see that happening this time.
I do.
Anderson back.
Not.
Egbuka, questionable, I would say. He said it's not long term, but he didn't say he wasn't out. He didn't say he wasn't out for next week. Anderson will be back. I think the run game will take a leap. After the Northwestern game last year, the run game was getting scrutinized. Next week, we ran the ball very well. I think this happens again. I think the run game takes a step forward, makes our team a whole lot better. I think our defense is too good for Purdue to move the ball down the field.
All right. So, we had last week, we're going to go with the recap first. We had Michigan. We took on Minnesota at Huntington Bank Stadium. And we showed up. We have been getting better and better in terms of offense throughout all of our games this season. We went from 30 to 35 to 31, which was our only downgrade. No, then we stayed at 31, I think. I don't know. I'm not going back and checking the scores. But then we went up to 45 points against Nebraska. Then 52 points at Minnesota, taking home the Little Brown Jug. Great performance.
We've had it for like 20 years.
Well, keeping it at home. J.J. McCarthy, decent game through the air. Blake Corum doing Blake Corum things. We were able to shut down the Minnesota passing game. Wasn't very hard to do. Isn't very hard to do, I should say it like that. That's all I got on that one. Great performance by Michigan, and hope to see more performances similar to that.
Not really much to say about last week's game. What was supposed to happen happened. I mean, McCarthy, 3 total touchdowns. Corum had a touchdown. Defense has scored more than we've given up this year. Crazy stat. But, yeah. Now, on to the next week.
Next week we are playing
Indiana.
Alright.
Michigan's favored by 33.5.
We're back at home for this one. Back in the big house for this game against Indiana. Indiana started the season off against Ohio State, put them on upset watch.
What?
For a little bit.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they were only down by 7 going into the half.
That's not upset watch.
I think that we should be able to get this win easily here. We won't have a game against a very good opponent.
Good Lord.
We won't have a very difficult game until we play at Michigan State. I'm not saying it is a difficult game, but since it's a rivalry game and we're away, it's gonna make it a little difficult.
Like I said, favored by 33.5. Not really anything special about their team or any of their players.
Whole bunch of meh.
I don't really know what to say.
Just wait for that option offense.
To win.
We did not. Ohio State went into that game not expecting it, and they started running option plays.
I mean, we should win by a lot. That's really all I have to say about it. But, yeah. We thank you guys for watching and listening to this episode.
It's greatly appreciated.
It is greatly appreciated. We hope you enjoy it. And with that being said, we will see you on the next episode.
Adios.